in this scintillating 34 degrees Celsius heat. Alex Machado versus Jaden Pope on the front row of the grid. The last time they came to battle, Machado got the job done. Can Jaden Pope change his cards and go for the big one? For both men, this is a chance to settle some scores and rejuvenate themselves after a tough path. So here we go for the last race of the weekend, the last race of the inaugural IAME Asia Pacific Games. So let's talk you through the starting lineup for this epic encounter. Alex Machado and Jaden Pope from Zalia Vrajkal and Dylan Tad on the first two rows of the grid. Top 5 start for Andrea Galimberti, Marijn Kremers, the legend, alongside him. Then Putra Adam alongside Travis Teoh, with the top 10 of the grid rounded out by Leonardo Mori and Dominic Setiovan. Jamie Ambrose, 11th on the grid from Danish Chen. Stefano Padani is alongside Paco Miguel Sarmiento in only his second year of racing. Conrad Garrow and Daniel Jagai. And then 17th for Luca Nietzsche, doing well on his debut, alongside Ethan Sito. Then Sarah Kojima and Nordiska 4 round out the top 20. Lucas Nongji is alongside Vodapong Yamchan, Andy Barrett and Jerry G. Then it's Rafael Kamal and Sishan Gunasekara. Riley Curry is beside the Indian talent Krishay Gutta. Then we have Melvin Shane beside Karine Kaur, Li Wei Chen and Miguel Quinones. And bringing up the rear, we have Jenny Bibinet, Issa Modfouad, Louis Ung and Jonas Tan. So with all of our great contenders ready to go to battle, it is set to be a sensational challenge. Unfortunate that we don't get to see one driver in the fray, but no doubt we will see Kim Guan-Hui a little bit later on in the season, I'm sure, as he will come back to go for glory. He has not competed in IAME X30 before this weekend, but he has acquitted himself admirably on a very tough mission indeed. So as the drivers warm up the tyres and brakes to optimum temperature, we know that there's only going to be 18 laps to get to the Italian peninsula of karting. It is the ancestral home of the sport, and it is where the IAME Warrior Finals will take place in 2026. Having raced in the past in various locations in years gone by, the IWF has raced in France, in Portugal and in Spain. Now it will take place in Italy, the headquarters of international karting. But for the Asian racers who have worked their craft to get up to this point, it'll be a seriously big opportunity to move forward and go for the big show. And winning a ticket now is such a big opportunity, because even though it carries the same weight as any other IWF ticket, to win it in February gives you 8 months of preparation to get ready for the big show. That gives you actually an advantage over any of the drivers in Europe, the Middle East, or even the Inf1nity IAME Series Asia paddock. Winning the ticket now gives you so much time to prepare. So who will triumph in this 18-lap dash? Alex Machado or Jaden Pope? Or, of course, will neither man get to stand on the top step? 36 drivers all want to go to Viterbo. So it's time to find out which driver has what it takes to go for the victory. In a race weekend like this, it's an Indy 500 style competition. Win or bin. Let's see who's going to get the job done as the X30 final gets underway here at LYL. Machado covers off the bases of Vrajkal, who gets on the curbs. Jaden Pope travels the pusher around the outside line, and there's going to be a big charge forward as Vrajkal holds to the inside line and maintains P2. Vrajkal is in second place in front of Jaden Pope as the field works its way through the first few S's of the course. Dylan Tan tucks in a 4th place in front of Marijn Kremers and Andrea Galimberti, tucking his way through the chicane, and there's a problem at the back. One of the DRM Paralins is struggling to get back up to speed again after a bit of an issue. But up in front, no change. Machado leads. Vrajkal, Pope, and that's Kremers. Kremers has got past Tan, and it's going to be a big charge forward from Galimberti. He comes through with Travis Teoh, and there's problems further back. That's the 230 getting into an incident there. So that is already some problems towards the tail end of the field, as we have collision between Li Wei Chen and Louis Ung, I believe. It's Jerry G that has mechanical problems on the first lap. So as we come through at the end of the opener, it's Machado from Raikal and Pope. So the drivers get themselves tucked in then. Machado, Raikal, Pope, Kramers, Galimberti, Teoh, Chen, Tan, Adam and Setyavan. The top 10 is already neatly tucked in. That's a big lunge forward from Stefano Badani. He finds a lovely move there on the inside and has already made up another place then on Paco Miguel Sarmiento. Good challenge forward. We've got some big opposition from the contenders as they try and mix it back up to the sharp end of the dais. Raikal is going with Machado. So is Zari of Raikal going to make a bid on his teammate? He'll want to do it nice and quickly because he doesn't want Machado to get too far away. But Jaden Pope is going with them. Raikal is a serious contender for this IWF ticket up the crest. And Raikal is causing a real problem here for Jaden Pope. He is preventing any chance for Pope to get close to Machado and go for it. Off the hairpin, down the straight. Raikal's got the toe. Meanwhile, Galimberti is back on terms with Kramers once again. The driver's working in very close fluidity. Looks like there's a bit of a gesture down into turn one, as that is one of the CRGs. 243 Rafael Kamal getting very irritated with Sishan Gunasekera as up on the inside line. We've got 290 Leonardo Mori going for the overtake. So everybody already putting on a good show. Machado in front of Raikal, Pope, Kramers and Galimberti. But Raikal really wants to go for the move here just as much as Machado does. But how early do you make that bid? Because if Machado gets into the rhythm, he'll disappear and leave them behind. So Raikal in front of Jaden Pope. Kramers is still battling with Galimberti. I think Galimberti may have actually got ahead. Up over the crest. Down the drop. Machado, Raikal, Pope, and then behind I think is Galimberti now, having got ahead of Moran Kramers. So how much opposition can Raikal give to his teammate? Meanwhile, P6, this is Travis Teoh versus his teammate Danish Chen. There's no love lost between the teammates in these competitions, but Danish Chen really wants to get back on terms with Travis Teoh. Chen wants to become a winner in senior. This is only his second weekend in the category, and he slingshots the move on Travis Teoh. So Danish Chen gets through the back end, steps out, but he corrects it nicely to tidy up the overtake. So Danish Chen is now in the top 6. Meanwhile, Raikal goes for the lead, and Raikal hits the front with a beautiful move, and 15 laps to go. Raikal is the first driver really to vanquish Machado in a straight fight so far. But Machado wants to win this just as much as Raikal does, and now Jaden Pope has got a chance to creep in. So will Raikal get the chance to win his only race of the weekend in front of his own fans? Pope gets on the inside of Machado. Jaden Pope into P2. Machado is down to P3. Machado was quickest in qualifying. He won 1, 2 and 3 heats, then the super heat. He's down to 3rd. And now Galimberti's closing up on him. What if it all goes wrong for Machado in the last race of the weekend? So now Galimberti wants to go for the victory. He's up in 4th. Wants to take on Machado, who is now down to P3. Leader is Raikal. Then Pope. Machado. Galimberti. Then it's Kramers from Teoh, Tan, Chen, Adam, Padani, Setyavan, Ambrose and Leonardo Mori from Kojima and Sarmiento. Through the S's, and Galimberti looks really hungry. Raikal isn't really pulling away from Jaden Pope. Pope is looking pretty strong here. And the Thai Motorsport squad of top 1 will definitely want Jaden Pope to go for this. They haven't got the win in Cadet. They haven't got the win in Junior. They didn't get the win in Master. It would be a very nice vanquish for Jaden Pope to steal the victory off the DRM Paralins. So the top 1 kart republic of the Australian is really pushing on here to try and overhaul Zari of Raikal. So Jaden Pope just edging his bets here. A very solid run so far for Jaden Pope. 23 years of age from Oran Park in New South Wales. That really is motorsport country in Australia. There was a beautiful race circuit at Oran Park for many years before it sadly had to close down. But it's motorsport country in that part of the world. And so Jayden Pope was always going to be likely to get some of that Oran Park water in his veins and prove to be a very fast operator. Under the bridge, Jayden Pope tries for Raikal. Raikal holds it round the outside, no chance. Zariev Raikal's first big scalp from Jayden Pope comes to nothing, but he now knows what the Australian's made of. He'll see a gap and go for it anywhere. 12 laps remaining in this final. 6 done. We are 1/3 distance through, and Pope's now going to have opposition from Alex Machado. Machado's going to go for the move on the inside, and Machado's in a second. Machado takes on Jayden Pope. That's how crucial it was for Pope to get ahead, because now he's going to try again on Machado. They drift wide. Galimberti's going to get in there. Pope seizes it, and Machado goes backwards down to P5 behind Kramers and Galimberti. Kramers is now going to make his bid to go for Pope, but this has given Zariev Raikal a fairy tale lead. Raikal leads by a country mile. Jayden Pope and Marijn Kramers are next up. Now this is where you really get to see the superstardom of Marijn Kramers, one of the greatest gearbox racers of his generation. The 28-year-old from Gemert in the Netherlands, European KZ champion 2020. He gestures towards Jayden Pope and signals to Galimberti, come on, let's go get him. Up towards the apex for 3. Kramers will try the move. He's not going to get on the inside this time. So Kramers and Galimberti want to work with Jayden Pope to try and close up on Zariev Raikal. The gap is already a second. And with 11 laps to go, Raikal is looking untouchable. But can these 3 team up, settle their differences, and open up this victory again? Further back, we have Teoh, Tan, and Chen. Setyevan is having a neat battle with Badani and Mori, and this is the battle between Jamie Ambrose and Seira Kojima. Dylan Tan is having a great race of it as he gets ahead of Travis Teoh. So Tan is now P6 from Teoh and Chan. Dennis Chen, 8th position in front of Setyevan and Stefano Badani. But Galimberti is going with Marijn Kramers onto the main straight, tucked up behind Jayden Pope. And the gap is down to 9/10 of a second. So Pope, Kramers and Galimberti will get another chance on Zariev Raikal. But they have to team up, they have to work together, and that's Jamie Ambrose. Jamie Ambrose is out of the race. So Ambrose is bitterly unhappy. I think that's up at turn 3. So Ambrose appears to be out of this one. So that is game over for the British driver based in Singapore. Down to the hairpin once again. And Galimberti having got ahead of Kramers now. Galimberti into 3rd, ahead of the Dutchman Marijn Kramers, with Alex Machado wanting revenge. So Galimberti now gets to go after Jayden Pope, as Zariev Raikal is 9/10 of a second to the good. And as they come through again, there's contact. That's Quinones. Quinones has had a tumble there further down the order. I think that's Lucas Leong he's collided with. So they've dropped down to the back of the field. 9 to go, and Raikal still has 9/10 of a second on Pope. But will Galimberti work with Pope to close up? So far, the answer is yes. Galimberti does want to work with Pope. As up the inside goes Machado. Machado takes on Kramers. And that's Kramers down to P5 at the expense of the Dutchman. Machado into P4 for Andorra. But Raikal is now 9/10 of a second clear. Galimberti's had enough. He's going to go for the move. And Galimberti into 2nd. So Andrea Galimberti can now go after Zariev Raikal, his teammate, as Galimberti protects the inside line. You can't defend for too long, Andrea. Otherwise, Raikal will never be catchable. Up the crest, and Galimberti has the position. He also has the calm fluidity to run in second place. He's got to hope that Machado is going to try and join in here. If Machado can get ahead of Jayden Pope and get onto the back bumper of Galimberti, then this race still has life in it with 8 laps to go. Machado climbing all over the back of Jayden Pope, diving for the inside, and he's through. Alex Machado, 3rd position. So it's now DRM Paralin 1, 2, and 3, once again, just like it was in the cadets. But Raikal leads Galimberti. Pope! Oh, Pope gets a beautiful charge forward. Now he's going to get ram-raided. Oh, up goes Kramers! All 3 of them off the road together. Kramers, Machado, and Pope in the wall. I cannot believe it. Marijn Kramers spits up on 2 wheels, and the European champion is out. A crazy end for Machado, Kramers, and Jayden Pope. All of them eliminated. There's Kramers. His car has come to a stop. It's not going any further. Pope and Machado are out on the spot, and their brilliant week is up in smoke. What a dramatic end to 3 of the best driving talents of this week in one fell swoop. So now it's Raikal from Galimberti, and the man in 3rd place, 5 seconds back, is Dylan Tan. But now Galimberti wants to take on his move for the victory, as that was a very big maneuver to try and dive in there. That was Setyavan on Danish Chen. And the black flag has been made. The black flag has been given for contact for the 243. So the 243, that's Rafael Kamal. Rafael Kamal has been shown the black flag for contact. My goodness me, the X30 final really is taking its punishment, and it's becoming a race of attrition. But out in front, the only thing that remains the same is the 2 DRM Paralins in 1 and 2. But will they stay in the same order? 6 laps to go, and Raikal is being caught by Galimberti. Down to turn 3, and Galimberti is right on the Malaysian. The junior champion of 2024 versus the junior champion of 2025. Teammates as seniors in 2026, and the Malaysian versus the Italian. What a battle royale. Both drivers want to go to the victory in the IWF. They both want the ticket. They both want it badly enough to fight for it. The 205 is under investigation for contact. That's Alex Machado. His dominant week has ended in the barriers, and now he's under investigation as the potential catalyst. Raikal and Galimberti are now swapping apexes. Down the drop, 5 laps to go, and the 2 previous junior champions will now rage battle and crack their cheeks for the victory. Down the straight, the battle's still raging. Rafael Kamal still being shown the black flag. Galimberti pushing, Raikal having to defend. 5 laps to go, and Raikal is defending to his teammate. Both of these drivers are hungry. Both of them are absolutely ruthless. And if there's any teammates that are not going to show each other any respect, it's these 2. Raikal versus Galimberti. Paralin versus Paralin. Here we go. Raikal has to move to cover the inside line. Galimberti is going to try the switch. Is he going to make it? Raikal holds the cover. Galimberti on the far side. And so that's the first big round. Now they've got to go for round 2. Raikal covers Galimberti, who tries to get the switcheroo. Up the crest they go. Galimberti wants this so badly. He won the junior title. Then 3 months later, he won the Asia final. Can he really get this done? He's through. Now Raikal comes back at him. Side by side down the home straight. With 4 to go, Raikal gets back in front. So now Raikal wins for the moment. Galimberti coming back at him. Oh my goodness. Can Galimberti really do the hat trick in the space of 6 weeks? The Asia title, the Asia final, and the Asia Pacific Games. Here he comes again. Galimberti is relentless. But of course, the more these two battle with each other, the more likely that Dylan Tan and Travis Teoh are going to catch them. They've still got to do this for 4 more laps. And Galimberti isn't going to go quietly into the night. He's going to wrestle with Zadi of Raikal for the victory. So what if we had Machado, Pope and Kramers take themselves out, and then it happens again between Raikal and Galimberti? They are so close to each other, and they will happily trade paint in their bid to win this Asia Pacific Games. 3 laps to go of the weekend and of the title. Galimberti hunting down the Malaysian. Raikal holds to the inside line. Galimberti's going to try and cut through. Raikal to the middle of the road. That's where he wants to be. Middle of the road is good, because if you put the cart in the middle of the road, Galimberti can't go right and he can't go left. He'll try every trick. He's made it! Galimberti! What a stormer! The Italian stallion snatches it away from Zadi of Raikal on the switchback. And Galimberti has done it in magnificent fashion. The 14-year-old from Sachile in Pordenone, who now bases himself in Chengdu in China, is about to realize something quite spectacular. 3 titles in a row. If he can finish this off, he'll have a junior title in the Asia Series, the junior crown in the Asia Final, and in only his 2nd weekend as a senior, the Asia Pacific Games title, all in the space of just 6 months. And he's pulling away from Raikal with 2 to go. Dominic Setievan is having a great race here. He's moved his way up to 4th position behind Dylan Tan, having got ahead of Mori. Teoh is struggling on tyres, as is Pedani. Paco Sarmiento having a great run in only his 2nd year in karting at all. He is in the top 10 in Senior X30 in the Asia Pacific Games, ahead of Danish Chen and Putra Adam. But try as he might, I don't think Raikal has got anything to bounce back to Galimberti with. A lap and a half to go. Tan is being caught by Setievan. Setievan for RL Karting wants to get in the top 3, and he's working hard. Top 5 is the podium, but 3rd position is better than 4th for Setievan. He may not get the victory, but there's pride at stake for Setievan as they battle away again. There's battles all the way, as right the way down the order, drivers are still squabbling. Into the last lap then goes Andrea Galimberti, as there's an investigation for Andrea Galimberti. He's under investigation on the digiboard. This may not be over yet. Well, the 216, Andrea Galimberti, under investigation for contact. He took the lead, but what if it's snatched away from him? If that's the case, then it's going to be Raikal. But the battle is raging further back for 3rd position as Tan and Setievan are squabbling. Here they come, and Setievan is going to try and make his bid here on Dylan Tan up the inside. Mori is in there, so is Teoh. You're watching Galimberti cruise control his way to the victory, but he's under investigation for the contact. This isn't over yet. For the moment at least, though, the junior champion, the junior Asia final winner, and the Italian stallion will come through to take the victory in the final. Andrea Galimberti wins here in Malaysia. His 1st win of the weekend, and it's the race that matters most. We will see if it turns out to be a false dawn, but for the moment at least, you can't deny that Andrea Galimberti drove like a warrior. A brilliant race from Andrea Galimberti to bounce back from so far behind the leaders to challenge for the win and go for broke. And so Andrea Galimberti can stand tall with his head held high. Whatever the outcome, what a drive from the Italian stallion, who surely is going to have a groundbreaking 2026 season. What a magician. Galimberti came from so far back to challenge the opposition. when Machado, Pope and Kramers crumbled, he was ready to storm up to Raikal and go for the victory and snatch it away from the Malaysian. He did. What an incredible Senior X30 final on a day of incredible X30 finals. It really has been masterclass with the likes of Noxback, Shabal Basalama, Takaharu Nakamori and Andrea Galimberti grabbing the wins on the road in a magnificent week of racing here in Malaysia. And as Andrea Galimberti pushes the Paralin onto the weighbridge, we will see his reaction. Hopefully it's all going to be okay. He pushes it off. And as far as Andrea Galimberti is concerned, that is the ultimate way to end the week.